Yo, what up, guys? So, a little bit of a different intro for today's podcast, and just want to apologize for how late it's been to get this out to you guys. Life has been crazy, and I know that's not an excuse. I just got to do better. So, before we get rolling in today's podcast, just want to let you guys know that I appreciate the support, the followings, and more than anything, just the belief in what the page is about and the podcast. My goal is to bring y'all as much value as possible. So part of what I'm doing is paid promotions during this podcast. If you or your business, tech, software, coaching programs, coaching courses, personal coaching, sales coaching, whatever it may be, if you feel like you have something that's valuable and you want to bring it to the space, let's talk about it. See if we can't promote your business and what you're offering. Most important thing is it's got to elevate the industry. So without further ado, let's get in the podcast. For the people in door-to-door and the people not in door-to-door, you mind giving us a quick little intro?
The very quick. Okay, so my name is Suli Zinck. I've been in the door-to-door space probably like the last 17 summers. I'm a mom of 3. I've been married 14 of the 17 summers that I've been in the door-to-door space. I am just one of those women here who have just found a lot of freedom and lots of business tips because of door-to-door. So that's me.
Also, my boss.
This guy always says that, but I'm like, no, we're just sisters, friends, all the above.
So 17 summers now? Is this going into your 17th?
No, I just finished summer number 17. Holy yeah, summer number 17.
Dang. And then black really don't crack then.
Yes, but I just realized yesterday that can also be used against me, so black cracks.
It may not crack on the surface, but beneath the surface.
Yes, beneath the surface. It cracked.
How years ago?
Like, let me be.
Oh my gosh.
I promise you guys, I'm not racist, and I'm just we all have a color.
Yeah.
We're either black or white. To me, it's no offense.
Yeah. Hold on real quick. There's a little button right here on the side. Other side. So I'm just going to hit this, and it's going to... No, it's on. What I'm going to have it do is just record to the mics directly. Cool. In case anything happens. So...
Smarty pants.
Yeah. I hang out with Ty.
Man, we got like his human design ratings. That kid is in the 0.7% in his gifts and thought processes.
Yeah, he's smart.
Yeah, so now as a parent, it's really like helped me seeing that. I'm less like, Ty, do this, and that. And more of like, what do you want to do? And can you make sure that these things get done? I don't care how you do it, but can you get these done somehow?
Okay. So human design, that's a great leeway into it. That's a great leeway into it. Okay. So I feel like that's a very...
Let me bring the actual definition.
How would you put it? I feel like human design is a very not brown thing to do.
Yes. This is one thing about Suli. She does not go with the norm when it comes to things. Like, I do believe that if something isn't broke, like, don't fix it. Like, a lot of people, when they look at me in sales, I'm in door-to-door, how are you, so successful? The trainings and the things that I have been given in door-to-door, they're not broken. I don't need to reinvent the wheel. I literally just do it to a T consistently. But then there's cultural things. So I am half Tongan and I am half black. And so, and being a part of like society, my husband's a full-time stay-at-home parent. I am the sole provider. So like my parents had me at 16 years old. And so I was raised by my great-great-grandparents. So a lot of my lifestyle and everything that has happened like for me has just always been against the norm that I can say. And I've definitely been one who's never wanted to, know the green stuff, the non-vaccines, the eat plant-based, the do all this, human design. I'm reading, and then there comes a point in time, in age, in day and in seasons. And I feel like I am in this season. I'm almost 40 years old where I am seeking a lot more authenticity in myself, to myself, and whatever it looks like, and figuring that out is very like valuable to me, hence human design. So I want to read, because I know that people will ask, like, what is human design, okay? So the concept is it's a self-knowledge system that uses a person's birthday, time, and place to create a body graph, okay? So all that it's going to be doing with it and its benefits is just to help people understand their purpose in life, to align with their actions and their natural tendencies. So as I dive deep into it more, I recognize a lot of tendencies that I had like growing up that I would perceive as negative or like OCD or like weird or abnormal. And I'm coming to find out that a lot of these things has really made Suli who she is. Like, why have I gone against that?
And, sorry, that's not to be confused with like the horoscopes, right?
Yeah, no. So in human design, I'm a manifesting generator. In the horoscopes, it's like a Chinese calendar that basically separates colors based on your, personalities. Yeah. And I'm a very red lion dominant, but human design has allowed me to lean more into the feminine, more into the softer side.
Okay. Absolutely. Okay. So we did it at your free team retreat last year.
Yeah.
And it was super eye-opening, right? Because like I've looked into a ton of different things that people would consider weird, right? Like horoscopes. I've looked into like personality types, the Enneagram, like all these different things, right? I feel like you and I are very similar in the sense that we're just really weird.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm okay with it.
Yeah, same. For the longest time, though, I was like, why am I like this way? Why do I struggle to, I guess, fit in?
Same.
And a perfect example is one of the last companies that we worked with. They all had the same little, like that same little chuckle, same little head nod.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not that I hated, but I felt sick, right? Trying to fit into that mold.
Yeah.
Right? So from weirdos to like kind of researching more about ourselves, it was fun.
Yeah.
Like to see what it is that Tess at the time was doing, and it explains so much about who I was and all these things that I had always questioned, like, why am I like this way?
Yeah.
And then come to find out that it's because of this, and because I am this way, then it leads me to do this. And it's like I felt like 32 years of life had just been connected for me.
Yeah.
It was super cool.
Yeah. No, and I think that it's even like deeper than that. Like even just like childhood. Like I tried to fit in, like this girl growing up in the Polynesian community with a black afro wanting to fit in at primary at church, then growing up in high school, seeing all the cool kids and I have my weird ways. Yes. What am I trying to do to fit it? Even now, like sometimes in society, it's just like, why, do I feel this type of way? Like I should be this way. But if anyone listens to Ed Milet, he has a podcast episode where he talks about desperation, being unique, and standing out. And between mentors like Ed Milet, human design readings, my beliefs and things like that, it's just like, what does it matter? Anything that's good in life, whether tools, information, if it's going to be helping you show up in any authentic form, why do we care so much? Like, why do we try to change it? And I ask myself that too, because I'll find myself even like right now, like I'll have a different opinion or I'll see things different than someone that I like look up to. And it's just like, I hesitate a little bit still sometimes. And I think that it's something that won't ever leave. But the more that we become more aware of ourselves, whether, therapy, human design, whatever it is, the easier it's going to be to keep doing things that align with you, with ourselves, as opposed to conforming to others.
Yeah. I think you're onto something, because like since the time that I've known you, right? It's I've seen you do so much, and it's not just like pouring into like one form of like training or coaching or whatever, but it's like you pull from everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it speaks a lot to how you are. I feel like so many people are just, this is how I am, and I go with it, right? And that's all they know.
Yep.
But the fact that you pull from so many resources, it allows you to be almost a chameleon, and you just kind of, you are who you are, and you just navigate in the way that you want to, right? Yeah. Like I've seen you do the Mike O'Donnell, right? You did the thing with the Pride. You did the thing with Knockstar. You are in probably 5 other coaching groups that has to do with like finances, real estate, and whatever it may be.
And now I'm opening my own.
Now you're opening your own, right? So you're pulling from all these different things, and it almost completes you.
Yeah.
I think so many people have the issue where they look at training, coaching, program that's like, this is my solution, the one size fits all.
Yeah, and it isn't.
It isn't. And they just conform to that, and that's it.
And don't get me wrong, like, because when it comes to sales, I am very, like, when it comes to work, I am black and white, meaning you either have the work ethic, the discipline, or you don't. And I literally like mimic the people who are awesome. But as I travel to different places and I have like reps or people that I'm mentoring, whatever, oh, well, that didn't align. Oh, well, they said this, like, what does it mean for you? I have come to the understanding that there is so much information like out there for us that's either going to align for you or someone sitting next to you.
Yeah.
And who are we to not be open to those types of things that are just going to like help you? So I think the reason that I'm so invested in a lot of different things is because I do recognize that I am an influence and I want to be a good mom, coach, teacher, all those things. And most people that I do help aren't my personality. So how will I learn how to help them if I'm not willing to be open to, hanging out with people like Ricky?
I hang out with Suli so I can hang out with their kids. Their kids are awesome.
This guy, kindest teddy bear on the planet, ever wants to be his friend.
No, I don't know about that. One of the things that I genuinely like really love, and as you're talking, it just kind of clicked in my head. Cool. I feel like so many people, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe people just do the one thing because they don't trust themselves to do more. Because sometimes, like, we have the thing where an overload of information causes paralysis by analysis. And I think what you have done, and this is just kind of like when I'm piecing together, is you take all the information and it's almost like you find a common ground. Yeah. I think so many people are like, well, I heard this one-liner, right? Yeah. What does that mean for you? And it's like, well, like, are you just like focused on the words, or are you focused on what is said, when it's said, why it's said that way? Like, why is a one-liner designed, or why did you hear that one-liner and feel like that's really good, right? Yeah. Break it down. Why do you think it's good? Yeah. And I feel like that's the issue. People just take it at face value and don't like dig deep to figure out why it is that people say it and why people are constantly using it,
1,000%. People are like, oh, well, this person told me to invest here, or this person told me that this is the way that you find success. I think, and I truly believe that everything in life is a reflection of the way that you perceive yourself. So I say that because people ask me all the time, Suli, when are you going to share your script? Suli, what's that one-liner that you're saying? All of it is I don't want to say like bullshit, but it's just like they're all words on a canvas unless the human behind it who's saying it believes in themselves, loves themselves. And I think that was like the biggest problem for me, like my first 5-6 years in the door-to-door space. I didn't love the person behind the mirror, so I had to mimic and ask everyone, hey, what's the words that you're saying? Hey, what's this that you're doing? Hey, what's this? And finally, when it got to a point that I started doing like the work on myself, it's just like, it isn't what we're saying. Yeah. It's how we're saying it, our belief system, what's happening like in our noggin, like Taylor McCarthy, Michael O'Donnell, all these people. I love taking their information because I'm in a place where I love myself. I care about myself. So now what I'm getting to say from these teachings, it's going to work. Someone else is just like, oh, they need to keep picking at all these things because they haven't decided that they are the driving force. Yeah. That they are enough to get up and use this type of content and share it and not feel like others can't find success with it.
So it's almost like, what's contrary to popular belief right now in our space is do this program, get this coaching, get that. It's like, no, before you do that, figure out who you are, take a step back and figure out how you're going to digest what it is that you're going after, right? Yeah,
1,000%. There are going to be like great tools and systems and lines that people are going to teach you and other things that maybe isn't going to be all that. But as you do the work on yourself, you're going to decide truly what's going to help you in your business and what isn't. And if you haven't gotten to that point where you trust yourself enough, you're going to keep looking for the one-liners. You're going to keep looking for that coaching or that platform or that whatever.
Okay. So until you figure you out, none of it matters.
Yes, and that's the basis of my coaching platform is I want to teach and build people to believe in their intuition, to be able to believe and know who they are. Because what I'm going to teach next, as far as like principles and things like that, it's not going to matter if they don't trust themselves.
Okay. So as a person who's invested probably a few real estate properties worth of, like the equivalent of a few real estate properties in California on coaching, what made you want to start coaching, right?
Honestly, I feel like, and I've never said this before, but I feel like that I am making up for lost time. I am making up for the gatekeeping Suli. I am making up for the insecure Suli. And what I mean by that is when I first started in the door-to-door space, I conformed to the competitive environment, meaning at the top, there's only space for one. At the top, there's only space for a couple people to get acknowledged. And so as people from other companies are reaching out to me, even from other teams in my company, I'm like, and my managers are like, no, don't share the sauce, don't do this. I conform to that. I started having this little huffy puffy, like, nah, I'm not going to share, you know what I say? I'm not going to help women. I want to be the number one woman. I want to be all those things. And of course, a decade later and doing all the work, I'm like, how many more women would still be in this space had I decided to not conform early on and help other people that on teams and things like that. And for me, I feel like this is a part of me making up for conforming into a lifestyle that I never should have, or into a mindset that I haven't. And I'm one of the 1% that I'm going to die in door-to-door. I truly love this space, and I want to see more women here. But ultimately, deep down, never saying this out loud, I feel like that this space has created so much success for myself and for my family. And even just looking at the California fires, like the universe does not know wealth or poverty. And it knows the type of person that you are. And I feel like I have a lot of making up to do.
Yeah.
A lot of making up to do.
Yeah. That's crazy. Because, when you're saying that you have time to make up for, I find that hard to believe. Because, when we first met, I followed you before you started the Female Narcos United, right?
Yeah.
I was following you back in your days at Aptive when you hit 1,000 accounts, And then the next summer you move into solar, you start the page.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, whatever you need from me, I got you. You remember?
And I love and appreciate you for that.
Let it be known that Suli's the reason why I'm here.
Hearing up here.
If it wasn't for Suli and her saying, yeah, if you come out and blitz with us and get 3 deals, I said, say less.
Well, now he's not even in my office.
I'll take it. I was supposed to go blitz with McCarthy's guys in Florida, and they all got COVID. I ended up helping you drive your girls up to Dallas for your event. Stopped in Waco, never left. I was just telling somebody how, I got to Waco, and it's like we were signing a lease with Brian, sight unseen. I was going to a blitz in Nashville, and Brian was sending me paperwork. I'm on my way to the airport, and I'm like, all right, this is it.
It's been history ever since. I feel like we are definitely big helpmates where we're at right now.
So with that being said, right, I supported you in the page because, one, it was the right thing to do, right? But two, it was something that hadn't been done. And I could feel the authenticity and the genuineness of wanting to help women in this, right? So for me, it's hard to not believe, but it's really hard to comprehend the depth of making up for lost time, because
I still even feel like a fraud, with that, because I started it for exactly what I'm wanting to do right now, in the sense of, I want to meet women where they're at. And then you get caught up, in the money and the numbers and all those things. And, you get the handcuffs and like, oh my gosh, this girl can produce. And when I transitioned into solar, I was already starting, my mentorship. And then a team and everything like comes and builds. And it's just like, I have to turn that off. And now I'm focusing on myself again and focusing on a company and a team. And that, it really has taken me getting into my 40th birthday around the corner, that I'm like, what the fuss am I really doing? And even then, I've had so much success, like the last 4 years, but like that fraud keeps coming back to me. And like, I started that to create impact, and then I stopped for 4 years. And that's what I mean by I have a lot of time to make up for it. I have a lot of time to make up for it.
Well, let me know I can help.
Thank you. This bringing awareness and things like that is always helpful. And you're always good about like plugging in girls with me and things like that, and make it clear. I don't think all of us women need to wear the same polos, but my vision, it's long term. I'm not going anywhere. I'm the one woman that's going to be here, and if it's not going to start with me, who is it going to be with? So,
yeah, no shit. Yeah, talk about like a shift.
Yeah. Even saying it out loud, it's still so like heart wrenching, and I even have the chills like right now, like just being super authentic and open. Like a lot of people look at me and see the flash and the success, and behind closed doors, I'm like, I haven't even done enough for the space that has blessed me.
Yeah. What do you think that is? Because like earlier before this, like we were talking, right? Like I opened up to you about some pretty deep stuff, and like my insecurities, and it's like, you told me like, why'd you take a few months?
Yeah. Because I felt like that was something that I did like this last season. It really was taking the time to sit and figure out like what truly brings me happiness. And it's not the fame, it's not the page. I have really found like creating impact makes me want to stay alive. It makes me want to be around. It makes me want to, be open and not gatekeep. But it took some time of being away from the norm to be stern in some of my decisions. And I just think that everyone should do that in whatever capacity of business that you are. I think that there comes a season where you need to step away and figure out really what lights you up. And that's really what human design has done for me. It has got me into the mindset of if it's not a hell yes, it's a no.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that simple. And I've eliminated a lot of distractions in my life that were just maybes, and maybe I should to please this person. And it's unfortunate. I've lost a lot of people along the way, but I feel a lot more whole. I feel a lot more purpose and a lot more joy by eliminating the fluff that wasn't even lighting me up anyways.
Almost like freedom. For most people, like this is one of the things that I've been like considering, and it's one of those things that I keep saying to myself, like, over the last year, like I've lost a lot, from like business to life.
Loved ones,
that was hard. But even like the stuff like in work and personal life outside of like death, it's like the people I have lost or who have like left, it's like, I lost a lot, but I also, it's almost like I gained,
Like we are still here. We are still breathing, living, kicking. And for me, it's like, I'll be damned if I don't do something like get out that. Like, again, like really the fires in California really had just like opened my eyes to the demographics of people in homes that have been lost. It's just like, oh, what the fuck am I doing? Like, how am I helping this universe? How am I helping society? Like, there's a lot of people online. They're takers. There's just people that, that are content eaters, time consumers, but they never create.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's kind of like in our blood, is to be able to create. So how do we do it in a way that brings us joy?
Yeah.
That creates impact, and at the same time, it just it makes you want to still be around.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. The last few weeks, I've been focusing solely on like creating. I guess right now with me and my line, it's like creating content, right? That I like.
Yeah.
Outside of the stuff for pure, like the back end, like competitions and stuff that I had been creating. Yeah, It's crazy. When I started knocking doors, I didn't think that this is where I would end up.
Right? Same. I didn't know when I first started. My ass is still going to be here 17 summers later.
Well, 10 years, 11 years this year. That's so nuts.
Oh my gosh, you could say a decade too.
The decade. I've been knocking doors for a decade. That's nuts. But I feel like we hit a point where, one, we accepted the fact that we're different, and two, we trusted ourselves to be able to create, because that's what we are.
Yeah.
We create environments, we create structure, we create teams, systems, processes, right? And yeah, we take what we've learned in the past, but we create something that's different and unique that works.
Yeah.
At what point did you realize that you were capable of creating and trusting yourself to be able to do it?
That's a really good question. Honestly, back in 2020, when I was going for those 1,000 accounts, so Brigham Lindsay, one of my bestest friends, he and his wife, we were co-managing a team together, and they had gone home. And I remember I was getting ready to go home too, and my regional reaches out, and it's just like, you're only this many away. I'm actually doing like 1,000 accounts or whatever, and it was over 100 deals. And my husband and kids were going back home. There was no team or nothing like that. And in that moment, it was like the decision of, do I stand out and do this for me and go the extra mile? Or do I go home with my family because I've done something that a woman in this company hasn't already done? Like, I've already, shattered that record, by that point. And making that decision to get up and go and do it for me, and then like shattering it, was literally the beginning of my self-belief in myself, that I have the tools, that I have the confidence to be able to get up and go create. And it was in that same year that I had, decided that I wanted to mentor women, that I wanted to transition and open it up to anyone in that space. And I was like, I don't know how it's going to look like. I don't know if anyone's going to like me. I don't know if anyone's going to want to be a part of it. But I knew in that moment, once I accomplished like that goal and having that belief in myself, like just by myself, I knew that I was capable of creating something. I just didn't know what it was going to look like. But I was going to be okay just doing it by myself. And that's the hard thing about creating and creating impact, and why I suggested to you that you should take some time alone, because it is a lonely road doing things on a high level. And if we don't like who we are, if we don't accept, and if we don't have confidence, it makes being alone a lot harder.
Yeah.
And those were just the beginning of the eye openers of, I like myself when I'm alone. I am confident even if I'm alone and don't have anyone to hold my hand. And I am capable of doing, creating, being, and all the above. And showing it to myself was definitely the first step.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I've always been curious, because it's like, I don't know where, for me, it was, I started the meme page, and like I kept it super anonymous for like over a year.
Yeah.
And then Passy was like, dude, just come out and tell people who you are, And from there, it's like life has just taken off. So I'm just curious, like other people who create, like other creators, other people it's like, people can create, but I feel like people almost do it for the wrong reason,
True. And I agree with that. That's why I never wanted to be on social media. I'm like, oh, that thing is lame. Yeah. No, I don't want to. If I could go back and redo my career, I wish I had documented it online from day one. We just don't realize the people that we want to impact. And if it wasn't for like my brother, who was like pushing me to be on social media, now I want to kick myself in the butt, because I'm like, the amount of connections and people that I've been able to meet and help by being a creator, I'm like, that's what I want. I'm like, no, I'm old. I don't, all these insecurities. And then to come to find out, like, even now, like, I'll post stuff on my stories, and like my husband or people are like, oh, you spilled this wrong, you this and that. I'm like, I don't care. Like, my reasoning for this page isn't about like grammar, and about like, you know, and people who know me in real life, they see that and it's authentic. And it's just like, no, I'm not going to go delete and fix it. Like, I don't, you know, I don't care. But like at the same time too, I'm just like, I wish that I would have done that sooner. Like the amount of connections and people just by like creating that platform is why I continue to share on a regular basis, even if I look stupid, which I still have insecurities on the whole online platform.
Yeah, me too. I hate it so much.
No, it's not just me.
It's like, why me? But yeah, you're right. I think the coolest part for me, and I think it's very similar to you, it's like the network and the people that you meet, right?
Yep.
Like when I left, okay, funny story. When I left Waco, when I was signing the lease, I went to a pest control blitz in Nashville with my buddy Dustin Miller and his company, right? I land and I post on my story that I'm in Nashville. 20 minutes later, I get a DM from Mike O'Donnell saying, hey, I'm in downtown. You should come.
Oh my gosh, I love him.
So it's like, all right. And so I like go, I check into the Airbnb, I get an Uber to downtown Nashville, and I'm drinking with Mike O'Donnell. And like at like the most random bar, and it's like, and that was by far like one of the coolest moments ever, right? Because it's like, it was cool, like it was nothing about work, we're just bullshitting, talking to each other, right? I met his wife, and now every time I see them at events, Mike's wife's like, hey, Rick, how are you? And it's like, that to me now is some of my highlights, right?
1,000%. And like, just imagine if you weren't, you know, open or even posted that like online. That's what I try to tell people. Like people like who follow me and that I actually meet in person, I go and like look at their account. They have 0 posts, 0 stories, 0 whatever. I'm like, these fucking consumers, like how would we have met if I didn't have a platform?
100%. And sometimes you meet some of the most impactful, sometimes you meet some of the most impactful people to your life.
Yeah. Oh boy, have I.
Yep. Shout out to Corey Clark right now, because and awesome. Like the collective group has been, like, without a doubt, like my saving grace the last 6 months.
I love Corey. I love what he's doing. I love what people are trying to do in this space, and I want to be a part of that change.
Yeah, same. I think there's so much of. I mean, we're just talking about it. Just suck it up. Keep it going. All right, bro, you're fine. Like, no.
Don't get me wrong. I've been there, done that too, you know, especially to the guys. And then like realizing like, no, there is a different approach. Yeah. There are other ways to go about it.
Yeah. As a guy, like, it's totally okay to not be okay.
1,000%. Even for you women too. It was okay to be emotional. We are humans. We are not AI and we are not robots.
Yep. Like right now, I'm not okay. Like the last 6 months have been, probably like the hardest I've ever been through my life. But no one would ever know.
Yeah, and I hate that. And so people in my circle and things like that, I choose to be very open and very vulnerable and let them know so that they can do it too.
Yeah. At what point did you realize, because I'm curious, right? It's almost like, it's crazy, because like, it's almost like our lives are happening very similarly, right? Like we're parallel to each other with all the chaos and all the storms and stuff. But it's very different, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a season for people like us, you know? So like if you're a creator, like resonate with us, like maybe you're feeling it too, you know?
Yeah, it's part of it. It feels heavy. It feels all sorts of ways, and you still have expectations at the same time.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious. Earlier we were talking about like a little bit of like what Corey and I had talked about, right? It's like if people who are not meant for greatness, because it's almost like it's like you're destined to do it and you have no other choice, right?
Yeah.
But some people, like a lot of people, are capable of a lot, right? Some people are capable of extremes, right? Or else we wouldn't have like the Jeff Bezos or the Elon Musk, right?
Yeah.
You are in that category of people who are capable of extreme heights, right?
Yes. At least when it comes to the sales space, yes.
Shut up. It's just life. Sales is just one aspect, right?
Yeah.
At what point in your life did you realize that you were meant for more?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think there's like an ebb and flow, and And I want to make it clear, like, I have extreme, like, if it's something that I'm passionate about and lights me up, I'm all in. If it doesn't, like, people want to have, like, poker competitions or pickleball or whatever. And they're like, Suli, you suck. I know it's not something that lights me up. Or, like, I'm very, like, black and white in the sense of, like, if it's something I'm passionate about, it is all in. The second that I was getting sued while being in the door-to-door space, I knew my value. I knew how much that I was capable of and what I needed to do to be able to help create impact, like here. But something as drastic, as a 2-year lawsuit was definitely an eye-opener to me on, like, wow.
Yeah.
Everyone sees your potential. Why the fuss haven't you? Yeah. And I think, once the lawsuit and everything was over, it was that moment moving forward that I was like, I'm so meant to be in this space. Holy shit, let me keep going and make sure that I create an impact while doing it.
I love that.
Oh, yeah.
But
don't let it be a loss.
Yeah.
To let you know what your worth is, because that was a $500,000 value. But I know if great men and companies can put a number to me and what they think that I'm capable of, it was like, wow. Like, why did it take something like this for me to be like, holy cow, I'm worth something. I am capable, and it's because I am willing to go to the extremes for things that I'm passionate about, like door to door.
Yeah. We talk about loss, and it's almost like in the loss, in the sense of like emptiness. I don't know if you watch like anime growing up or not, but
no, but your kids
do.
Yeah.
Okay, probably Ty.
Yeah, and the hubby.
Really? Okay, so Ty and Walter are probably at some point seeing Dragon Ball Z, right?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I love Dragon Ball Z. Big fan, right? But it's almost like, okay, because you probably don't sit down and watch it with them and see, okay, in a gist, right? You got this guy named Goku. You probably heard the name before, right? Okay. Anyways, the main character's name is Goku, just an average dude, right? The thing is he's like the greatest warrior and fighter of like the entire universe in multiple universes, all these different things, right? But what makes it so cool, at least what I find so cool about it, is that this character just at the point of his breaking point, like at his breaking point, right, where he has nothing left to give, right? He finds the strength and he reaches the next level. Right?
Yeah.
And more often than not, in these situations, in these battles that he goes through, right, he's lost a lot. Like people have died, all these different things, right? But it's like in those losses and in those moments of like, call it darkness, call it like loneliness, call it whatever it may be, right? Lowest points. Mm-hmm. We always find a way to dig deep and pull more.
Yeah, right.
What is that? I'm trying to structure this out. Frick, I like totally had the question. Okay. Gone over loss. Let's go back to the time of your lawsuit.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4 years ago at this point, right?
Yeah.
You've lost a lot.
Yeah.
Financially.
Yeah.
You almost lost your life.
Yeah. Coins, investments. Yeah. I've lost a ton.
Where do you go to get the strength?
Yeah, that's what I was seeing where you were getting at with the, people who are going to be going to extremes. And so we all know who David Goggins is. We all know that concept, like, hey, when you feel like you are at your 100%, if you were to break it down, you were really only at 40.
Yeah.
Like you have never really given all every gas. And that's how I felt like it was for me, like, these last 5 years, having to rebuild teams, these last 5 years, like going in a lawsuit, losing my mom, having falling out, with siblings, reps, losing $100,000 in an investment, different things like that. Like, how do you keep going? If you are breathing, if you wake up, if you get the blessing of being able to wake up, I am like, there is definitely more for me. There must be something that I haven't learned yet. And I had gotten to the point where I have become super obsessive about generational wealth and looking at my 5-year-old and like, I want his kids' kids to be taken care of because of me. And I don't even say like financially, like I want people to be able to look back at their grandparents and say that they did shit with their life. And because it's beyond numbers and money and stats, like for me, like I live my life as if my 5-year-old is watching me and like, Mom, I'm proud of you. Or Mom, why'd you do that? Like I walk around like throughout the day, the things that I'm teaching at home as a parent, like it's literally, I am like, would my 5-year-old approve of the person that I am right now? And that mentality, like for me, has just become deeper because I grew up without much and I wasn't given a lot, and I don't want that like for my kids. And I think growing up the way that I did is why I'm always going to have gas when it comes to this portion in my life. Am I the best at everything in my life? No, there's a lot of things that I half-ass, that I give Fs, that I give C+. But when it comes to my kids and when it comes to providing and when it comes to a business owner, there's no telling like how far that I'm willing to keep going just to make sure that they're okay.
Yeah. Not many people are at that point of that. I mean, some people would call it extreme, right?
Yeah.
But we just call it, I mean, I just see it as like just what has to be done.
Yeah, same. Like it's just not an option for me. You know, like people just like, Suli, you're good at multitasking. Like, you know, you're over here on this trip and you're taking a call, you know, at 3 a.m. For me, it's just like, you must not love what you do enough in order to make those type of sacrifices or go through the extremes. And if you don't love what you do enough, go find something else that you do.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I've told my reps, and I've like all the phone calls I've taken of like people who ask me like, dude, how do you do what you do? Like, where do you, like, what is your why? You know? I feel like what is like, I guess my concept of it or what I've created for it is you have stages of like your why, your who, and your what.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like the why, like why you do it is very entry level.
Yeah.
Right? Like I do it because of this. But there's been times, right, early on where you're like, fuck this, I don't care. Like Bobby Ray will be fine eating top ramen. That's all he eats anyways.
1,000%.
You know? And then it's like, okay, so even on those days where it's like, it doesn't matter, like what happens, like your why is not going to be strong enough, you know? And then you shift and then you basically transition into this person of like this is just who I am, you know? Like I push past everything, you know? Like you reach a breaking point where it's like, is this really who I want to be?
Yeah.
Like, is this who I am? Is this really what I want to do?
Yeah.
You're at the point right now where it's like, where I tell everybody that they should strive to get to is just like, this is what has to be done.
Yeah.
No emotion.
Yeah.
Right? Because why is emotion? Who I am is emotional because sometimes you don't feel like that person. And no matter what happens, what I give you, like there's been points where like you could pay me $1 million and I will not go knock another door.
1,000%.
It doesn't matter, you know?
1,000%.
To the point of now, it's like, it's just what has to be done.
Yeah.
Like, and what that is, it doesn't matter. If it's the extreme of like, fucking like going and like, I don't know, spending, well, different now for you, right?
Yeah.
But before it was like spending times and like weeks away from your family.
1,000%.
You know, that's just what had to be done.
Yeah. Yeah, and now it's to a point like I do feel like there are different seasons. Do I financially need to go knock doors? No.
She's set.
Like, do I, financially need to be out past dark? But what has to be done is precedent. If I created a new team or whatever, yes. Well, what needs to be done is my ass is on the doors after 7. I'm going in and, setting appointments and closing deals. There's no emotion behind that. Like, especially when you come from a place where you're not like concerned about, finances. It's just this is something that has to be done in order for it to keep moving. Like, you're going to get to a point into your life where you recognize that for the greater good, yeah, it has to be done. And I think for yourself personally, for me, I've gotten to a point where it's just like, I need to decide like really what makes me happy in this space and what I want to do. And that's what's happened like this last quarter is like, it has to be done. And what I mean by that is like me moving in the direction that lights me up, even if it doesn't make someone else happy or like my bosses or whatever. I'm kind of like in that season where, you know, yes, I have to conform that way, but it has to be done.
Yeah.
I want to transition. I want to create impact. I want to be happy in other ways. And there is definitely a place and a time, but you grow into that season.
Yeah. One of the things that you mentioned before we got into the why, who, what, was doing things that would make your 5-year-old happy.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you can easily trick that boy by just giving him some. There's some freaking
right? Yeah, giving him. Yeah, he gets 2 hours a day on electronics. So if I gave him, 3, we'd be best friends.
For real, that kid. Oh gosh, I love that kid. It's so funny. I would say about 2 years ago, your brother Mikey came over to my house and we're just talking, and it was when Ika was starting to take off. He was looking at the building or his office space, right? And somehow we got on this topic of, and maybe you've heard him talk about it, but it's the concept of 880.
880?
880,
No.
right? Basically, the way that he explained it to me and what I've carried from it is do things that your 8-year-old self will be proud of. Go back and think about yourself when you're 8 years old.
Yeah. I didn't know there was a concept for it, but I agree with that, yeah.
And it's, like this, I might get emotional. Like going back and thinking about like who I was, Gosh. Like that kid was just full of life,
Okay.
Like there was no dream too big.
Yeah.
And it wasn't maybe until I was 10 that life really showed me you just gotta take what you're given, But am I doing things that my 8-year-old self would be proud of?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And am I doing things that my 80-year-old self would be thankful for? For me, when Mikey told me that, I was like, shit.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah. And I love that there was a term to it. I never, knew that there was a term, but I agree. I think that that's the deep-rooted thing for me. The furthest that I can remember back is 7-year-old Suli. And looking around, her cousins having everything and all of this. And it was just, from that moment, it was, I am going to have the lifestyle I wish I had growing up. And stuff like that gets rooted. What I'd love to do more is, yes, when Suli's 80 years old, she may be thankful or grateful for all the things that she's accomplished. And I love that concept. And I want to move forward thinking about that even more. And I think it just begins with daily practice of gratitude and spending time with the people that you want to. So yeah, when we are 80, looking at death straight in the face and there is no regrets. And that's a lot of things when people are getting ready for death. We're looking at all the people that we didn't fix relationships with, the things that we didn't do and just did it for someone else. And I don't want to be that 80-year-old.
Yeah. Ugh. Doesn't sound appealing at all.
No.
But realistically, when you're 80, staring death in the face, you're just going to hop on one of those little scooters, run away, and start telling these kids to go, knock more, don't know.
And my kids already know. That's the part of me where I say, black don't crack. I'm okay, that's great at Aiden. So, yeah.
Gosh, I love that. Well, shit, we're going on almost an hour.
Sheesh, Richter.
Anything else that you want to talk about?
No, I just feel like this is deep and good. And at the end of the day, I just hope that what people take away, at least for me in this type of conversations, is finding out what brings you joy. Getting to the root of deciding how much you value yourself, and the alone time, how much do you trust yourself and envy yourself, once you've figured out your worth and who you are, everything else is just going to fall in place. And I just feel like I've had different seasons of liking different parts of Suli. And I just think that everyone should be a part of that journey and recognizing and taking the direction that has to deal with would your 7-year-old self be happy of where you're at? Would your 80-old self be grateful for the person that you decided that you wanted to show up as today?
Love that. Let's end off with this. What's one thing that you've recently learned that has, I wouldn't say changed your life, but what's the last thing you learned that really, really helped you put things into perspective?
I was just not open to things that were different. And I want to say probably in the last quarter, I had been exposed to plant medicine. And, just growing up like super religious and things like that, I've been like closed off to a lot of different things. And so one of the biggest takeaways from that is just being open. Once I've made that decision, I can't even, literally the last 3-4 months, the amount of clarity that has come to me from being open to things that I'm normally not used to, that maybe your friends won't think is cool, your bosses won't think is cool, your mom and dad won't think it's cool. So do I advertise it? No, but I found so much clarity starting this journey of things outside of religion.
Same. One of my clients, one of the deals that I closed for Diego's reps in Colorado. So it was the last day. Everybody had left. Everybody was driving down, right? And there was one appointment left on the board. And that's the one that I went to the day before and I rescheduled for the next day.
Okay.
So it's me and my brother and one of my recruits. Go in. I'm in there for 4 hours, right? I end up closing the deal, right? It was this older Jewish family, super dope. They weren't like Orthodox, like practicing Jews, but they were like spiritual, right? And the whole time, the reason I was in there for so long is because we were talking about spirituality, like holistic medicine, plants, herbs, all these different things, right? Well, I stayed in touch with the couple, right? Yeah. The husband and the wife, and she ends up sending me a care package for Christmas. And it's she got me this like saline cinnamon, this like organic, like super crazy nice, like cayenne pepper, ground organic turmeric, ground organic ginger, this thing called moringa powder, and this like blend of like mushrooms, like lion's mane, all these different things. So for the last since Christmas till now, I've been focusing more on like my health than ever before. Yeah. So it's like, like that stuff I would never talk about, but that stuff right now is what's keeping me excited,
Yeah, 1,000%. Like our health in every capacity, mentally, spiritually, physically, is at our deathbed. Like death doesn't care. Like, did you take care of it? I love that you're doing that.
Yeah. In the last few days, I'm like, why have I been treating my body like shit for so long?
Yeah.
So take care of your body.
1,000%.
We only get one.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Suli, thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for having me, Yorkie.
Yeah, this was fun. And I look forward to seeing your kids tomorrow at Midget Wrestling.
They're excited to fly in.
Dope. And with that, we'll see you guys next time.
See you next time. Why do I feel like this was like therapy for real? No.
Mas não é dia. I don't think